Hi Dudley Charlton students, Mr. Earl back with you for this week's math video. Before we get started, did you hear the one about the farmer who counted 396 cows in his field? Yeah, but when he rounded them all up, he had 400.
Oh no!
I invite you to stay tuned to the end of this week's math video. At Charlton Middle School this week, we had a very special, what was called a reverse parade, and we had a great visit by the town of Charlton first responders, and I have a short clip of that that'll be coming up at the end of this week's math video, so I invite you to stay tuned. This week we're talking about volume. Volume is defined as the number of cubic units needed to fill up a space. I have a couple of examples here on my desk. If we wanted to measure the volume of this object, we would need to take 3 measurements. It's a 3-dimensional object. So we need to measure its length, its height, and its width, and multiply all those numbers together. Now you would expect that the volume of this object here would be a lot smaller than the volume of this object that I have in my hand. Speaking of volume, we've got a great example in my backyard. I've got a dumpster in my backyard. We were doing a little home renovation project in the past couple weeks. And as you look at this dumpster here, they sell the dumpster, or they rent the dumpster by the amount of space that you need. So if you have a lot of things to throw in there, you're going to need to get a dumpster with a larger volume. Obviously, I can't haul that dumpster up on the deck here with me, but I do have a couple of small examples that we'll take a look at right now. The first is a box, it's a Canon lens box, a 3-dimensional object here. And when we measure for the volume, again, we've got 3 measurements that we want to take: length times width times height. And the answer for volume measurements are always in units cubed, or feet to the 3rd power, for example, or centimeters to the 3rd power. If you remember our study of exponents, when we had a number to the 3rd power, that exponent was 3. And I'll have a number of examples up on the screen as we work through this so you can see what it looks like. So let's measure the volume of this Canon lens box right here. Well, to save us some time, I've already pre-measured this box here, and I found out that the height of this box is 9 inches. The length of the box is 5 inches, and the width of the box is also 5 inches. So how do we measure the volume, or how do we get the volume of this box? We multiply those 3 numbers together. 5 times 5 times 9. And when you multiply those numbers together, you get 225 inches cubed. That would be the volume of this box. Next one I have here is a Kleenex box. Now you would probably estimate that the volume of this box is going to be a lot smaller, since the box itself, just physically looking at it, is a smaller box. To figure out the volume of this box, we need to grab our ruler and do some measuring. Again, to save time, I've already pre-measured the length and width and height of this box, and I have 4 inches by 4 inches by 5 inches. 4 times 4 times 5. Multiply all those numbers together, and that gives you 80. What's the label going to say? 80 inches cubed, or 80 inches to the 3rd power. We say cube, we would read that as cubed in these examples. Well, I hope you did well with the example questions. That brings another math video to a close. I'd invite you to find a ruler and go around your house and see if you can find some rectangular prisms to calculate the volume for. Remember, coming up next is a special clip from Charlton Middle School's Reverse Parade. It's a visit from our first responders. Until next time, it's Mr. Earl reminding you to stay safe and be kind to each other. So long.